Breaking news. America, under protest and sports, is leading the way. What's good, y'all? I made it on first take. Haters gonna say it's fake. Nah, I'm just kidding. Today I'm gonna show you how to get this look. Before we jump right in, I wanna explain the two factors that inspired me to create this look. The first factor was first take, and then making some mistakes that happened during quarantine, like getting rid of their lower third to expose the fact that Stephen A. Smith was actually shooting on the TV, kind of like this. And the second thing that inspired me was my bro AJ just pursuing his dreams to become a sports analyst and doing interviews with people. His most recent interview he posted on YouTube, and he's been really consistent on Twitter and Instagram with just reporting about sports and getting information and just doing some amazing things. So he really inspired me to show people who want to do that and break into these big companies that you can add value to yourself before even stepping foot in the door of those companies. You have something to bring to the table. So I'm gonna show you how I did this. So the first thing I needed was a reference. So what I did was go to YouTube, typed in first take, looked at a clip that I liked, and I took a screenshot. And then after that, I just studied that image to see what I needed to bring in to recreate this look. Some of the elements we see are an image of the Brooklyn Bridge that has a greenish grayish tint, some type of concrete or sand layer over the whole image, but you mainly see this distressed texture on the right side to create this gritty New York, Brooklyn feel. You have an orange first take logo design on the top right, an orange first take text cut off on the left middle side, and these two orange squares on the right side of Stephen A. Smith, and that's to provide weight to the center of the frame so that you focus on Stephen A. Smith and not just on the text on the left side in the middle of the reference. We also have this design that's under Stephen A. Smith, which consists of a lower third, a bar, and a banner. And if we look deeper into that, the lower third has 3+ images or so that are blended together behind the America under protest. And then we also have this gradient bar, which is in the first take color scheme, which is really a branding thing to separate the lower third from the banner. And then you have the banner, which is the first take text on top of some type of distressed layer, sandy layer, maybe concrete layer. That's something we need to figure out when we're trying to design this. Now that we have a rough idea of what we're looking at, it's time to build this out in Photoshop. You need to know your TV's resolution so you look like this and not this. I have a 4K 2160p TV, and just my luck, Photoshop has a blank document preset for that. So I'm gonna turn on my artboards and start. Now it's time to bring in your reference images on your first artboard, create a second artboard where you'll actually be building out this design, where you'll be placing your textures, where you'll be placing your fonts, where you'll be placing your background, your lower third, your banner, your gradient bar. All of that is gonna be built out on your second artboard. Now it's time to go find your background, your textures, all your assets, all that great good stuff that you're gonna use to build out your design. So for me, I like to go to Unsplash, which I'm now realizing is the only website that I actually use, which is probably not the best thing. I should definitely find a second, third, and fourth, fifth website. When you go to Unsplash and you look up the Brooklyn Bridge, look up multiple versions of it so you don't have to keep going back and forth, trying to download new images. So just find a bunch of images that you believe work based on your reference image, save it into one folder, and then start trying them out in Photoshop to see which one works best on your artboard. It's all about trial and error. You might have a good looking Brooklyn Bridge, but it might not be at the angle that you need to recreate this reference. So that's why it's good to get multiple different versions of that Brooklyn Bridge. After you do that, you find the one that works for you. You want to start moving on to finding the textures that you can use to put on top of your Brooklyn Bridge, just like on the right side of our reference image. So you want to make sure you go back to Unsplash, find all those textures, find multiple textures. Remember, don't just get one texture and be like, ooh, this is the one, because it probably won't be the one. Now that you have your textures, you're going to try them by putting them on top of your Brooklyn Bridge layer, and then going to the blending options, testing out those blending options to see what works, testing out the opacity to see what works to your liking. For me, I use 2 different texture layers and messed with the opacity and did all that great stuff to get the image that we have so far. Then, find out what font you need. First Take uses Helvetica New Black, and I have a very, very similar font to that. Now build out your text elements, bring in your references for color, add your gradients, drop shadows, and etc. Now, the lower third, gradient bar, and banner. By now, you should already know what it is. We're gonna go get our textures. We're gonna put in our text. We're gonna clean everything up, mess with the opacity, and we're gonna be consistent with our font choices. It took me a while to do the gradient bar and get it the way I like it. I basically masked multiple different colored / transparency gradient layers to the bar shape. Now, the lower third. Make your shape, find your textures, find your images, make your images fit into that shape using the mask tool, and then start blending your images together. Add the America Under Protest text and try different weights and fonts to see which match best to your reference image. And then we're gonna work on the squares and the First Take cutoff text on the left side. Do your final touch-ups and don't forget to save throughout. Save, save, save. If you don't save and this joint crashes like 75% of the way through, you will be upset. So please save every chance you get. You need to make 2 more artboards, one for the background, which you'll use during recording, and the second one for the lower third, the gradient bar, and the banner, which you'll use in post when you're editing in like Final Cut, Premiere Pro, iMovie, whatever it is, you'll add in so you don't see stuff like this. You're probably wondering how I got the background on my TV. So first, I opened up the image on my laptop, and then I put an HDMI cord from my laptop to my TV, and now you have this. That's an oversimplified way of explaining that, but if you want a more detailed video on how I got the image from my laptop to my TV, leave a comment, subscribe, like this video. You know where we going, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.